Okay, here comes the match, baby. The Revival, introduced at a combined weight of 446 pounds, like real grown men. And Fish and O'Reilly didn't get a weight, but we know Kyle is a little bit thin, but they can still go well over 400 if they, I don't know why they didn't give him a weight. But anyway, just little things like that I liked. And I jotted down the times on the segment because I wanted to see how long they gave them, how long they went on the air and off the air. And from the time the bell rang, not just the entrance, from the time the bell rang until the time the finish, it was about 24 minutes. And they only were in commercial for about 6 of that. And I didn't think it was a long match.
No, I'm hearing you say this. I didn't time it out. I just watched it. I thought it was shorter than that. I didn't realize it was that long.
From the open, and if you want to go back and watch this, folks, and I encourage you to, because it's the best tag team match you're going to see for a while. From the opening lockup, it looked like a wrestling match. They had that, you could tell from their attitude when you're over, you don't have to start at 100 miles an hour and start diving out of the fucking ring just instantly. If it's a grudge match and it's a jump start, that's one thing. But just to fucking just run sprinting into a fucking match, when you're over, you don't have to do that. And they had the dueling chants because this was really a heel versus heel match at the heart of it. But the Revival were smart enough. They're not going to try to come in and out-heel the hometown heels in their own building, nor should they. So they worked like themselves, but there was a point where they got a nice long set of heat on Dash so that you could fucking tell who the heels and baby faces were. And the people are doing the dueling chants of FTR and Let's Go Era or whatever their chant is. But the point is, you knew what was going on. Everybody was in the right place. It was smart. All of the spots that they do, they build and have a payoff. And it's not just one payoff, but they'll build to something, boom. And if you think that might have been it, well, there's something else coming that's kind of flowing, and then a big payoff. And then there's a lull or a settle down. They pace their shit. They never step on their big fucking pops. Yes, I did see some backslap tags from Fish and O'Reilly, but the rest of this shit was so good. Like a fucking referee in the NBA Finals. I'm letting them play. They just did 3 minutes in the first segment, and then that that deal with Kyle and Dawson doing the vertical suplex over the top rope was scary perfect. Yeah. It was scary and it was perfect. They did it just right, but there was no room for fucking error, and it looked tremendous. And because that was a big bump, that was their break spot. They didn't jump back up and start doing shit to each other. Of course, now in this match, there's no picture-in-picture. The one that I would have stood there with my fucking nose to the screen, right like this, trying to see. They come back from the break, and they're in a running spot. As I've mentioned before, that's the best way to come back. They're in action, and it's Fish and O'Reilly doing their heat spot on Dash to cut him off and get some steam on him so he can sell and make a tag later. The thing it was presented as a contest. The heels were trying to win. Everybody's solid and aggressive. The work is good. They're not rushing, but they're doing everything they need to be doing. It's a tag team match in progress. Mauro Ranallo gave the cartwheel guard pass to Sakuraba, and I'm pretty sure Billy Robinson would have something to say about that. But anyway, Kyle O'Reilly's work is so different. He is a believable MMA worker. And Kyle has studied MMA, but he's obviously never done it at a high level like in the UFC. But he's studied it. But the thing is, a lot of the guys that actually fought in the UFC come to wrestling and try to wrestle like the wrestlers. And that's stupid. Your calling card is your shoot fighting, and you ought to be able to work that style. And instead, Kyle O'Reilly, to me, is the best MMA style worker in the business that I've seen, and has never fought in the UFC. What do you think?
I mean, I think he's really good at it. I'm trying to think Brock Lesnar. I'm trying to think who would be better potentially.
But see, here's the thing: Brock doesn't even do UFC or MMA style anymore. He just suplexes a bunch of motherfuckers. I'm talking about just the little nuances and the fighter stuff.
I think he does it better than Riddle. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. He's much more experienced too.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree.
Anyway, it's not about whether you can really do it or not. At this point, it's about whether you are a believable worker at it, and Kyle's very good. And we were trying to get Bobby Fish away from Gabe Sapolsky back in, I think, 2011 for Ring of Honor. I'm not saying like we were trying to steal him. I'm saying he had a contract with Gabe, and we knew he was good, and we really wanted to use him. And finally the contract came up, and we were able to get him. But, he's a guy that's older than he looks, and I'm not going to, reveal anything or whatever, but he's in tremendous shape, and he's one of those guys that doesn't age. Anyway, I loved Dash's Anderson boots. They got a nice set of heat, but at the same time, Dash is selling like Ricky Morton, but he stayed alive, and he knew when to fight back, and he knew when to show some life. And that's especially when they've been healed so much. He did a great job. Say do another 6-minute wrestling segment, go back to the break. Come back, and this time it's Kyle and Dash in action, doing something else. I think he was firing up, ready to do a running spot. What the fuck? I can't read my own writing here. Something about a power slam. What the fuck? Somebody did a good power slam. I don't fucking know. Anyway, the big thing, what a fucking hot tag. That was a hot tag. Dash has had the shit kicked out of him, and finally he's sagged by the ropes, and Fish runs at him, and he fucking ducks and pulls the rope down, and Fish goes out. And then Kyle and Dash both work together on this, but Dash, instead of going right to the left down the ropes to tag his partner, starts crawling as O'Reilly comes over to his partner, Dawson. So basically Dash had to crawl behind KO so that he had to go through him too to get to his partner, which he did by jumping up, hitting a quick Hurricane Rana, and then jumping up and making a tag. And then I wouldn't have done this. At that point, Fish jerked Dawson's foot off the apron so that he landed on the floor, but he started his comeback on the floor and then rolled in and ran wild with the comeback. I just thought it hurt the level and volume of pop if he could have gotten the ring first and done some shit. But vanilla and chocolate on that. He runs wild with the fucking comeback, had some great false finishes. People are chanting tag team wrestling. Did you see O'Reilly's Bobby Eaton knee drop off top rope?
Oh my God, yeah. To the middle of Dawson's back. Yeah.
Yes, to the middle of the ring. So, anyway, then they started going into their twists and turns, and I couldn't keep track of them, but they all made sense. They flowed, they followed from one to the other. Nobody was out of place. Nothing stood out as, why the fuck would they do that? Nobody were obviously cooperating. The fucking suplex splash, the old Power and Glory thing, that was a huge fucking pop for a false finish. That's what I wrote in capital letters. This shit was great. And the thing they did where they reversed whoever the fuck it was into the ropes, into the shatter machine, was next generation Midnight Express teamwork.
Another big pop for a false finish.
Yeah, because it looked fucking phenomenal. But that's if the Midnight had kept going, that may be stuff they would have developed. That was in their flavor, but at the same time, even fucking more precise. Amazing performances. If this was at I won't even say WrestleMania, because that crowd's all about just the fucking show and the fireworks and everything. But if tag teams were featured, if these guys were pushed to the level of their ability, if they were in an indoor arena with 10 or 15,000 people, this would have been remembered as a fucking classic match. I think just the fact that it was in a smaller place, even though it's on TV, 10,000 people would have been going crazy over that. If they were pushed at the right level and in that environment, the atmosphere would have been off the charts. But it was a long match, but it didn't fucking feel like it. And that's, anybody wants to learn how to have a tag team match, you can't go wrong watching that one. Now you give the Revival some love. Boy, we're so negative. We're so poisonous and cancerous.
Well, people will say we're negative because I always say they're the best tag team in a generation, and people will go, how could you say that, the Young Bucks? But it's, in my eyes, for my level of fandom,
Super Smash Brothers.
The kind of wrestling I like, the Revival, are fantastic. And I actually think I know I'm not supposed to call him Red Dragon anymore, but the Undisputed Era, Fish and O'Reilly, I think they're a fantastic tag team. I was really excited about this, excited to see how they played it out, being both heel tag teams, the home team versus the former home team. And I thought it was an excellent match. I wish it was in front of a bigger crowd, like you said. I wish there were no commercial breaks. But this is the kind of wrestling I wish there was more of. This is the kind of wrestling I became a big fan of years ago, and I still get excited when I see a match like this. Great job from everyone involved.
You can show it to a non-fan, as they say, and they wouldn't hoot at it and go, well, this is stupid. They would go, wow, those guys fucking hitting each other. But it's pretty good athletic, whatever, right? There's nothing so silly or whatever. Anyway, and these are younger guys, except for Fish, and he's in great shape, but they look like athletes. They take their fucking profession seriously. They go about it in the right way. They work hard. What the fuck? You've got to credit performances like that as much as you have to take the piss out of some of the shit we're going to take the piss out of in a minute. Anyway,